Hi everybody, welcome to the Sports Psych Sesh. This is episode 2 of our podcast where we like to talk about the latest research and news in sports psychology in an easy and digestible way. I'm here with my partner in crime, Owen McNeil. And Owen, would you like to introduce our next guest?
Absolutely, I'm delighted to introduce Bernard Cahill. Bernard is an elite swimmer, an elite swim lifesaver. Not only is he a good friend of mine, but Bernard has won 9 Munster Senior titles this year alone. He's the current European swim life-saving champion. He has also just been named Irish Water Safety Sports Personality of the Year. So Bernard, can you tell us a little bit about what you do, what your training's like, and even just down to your daily routine?
Hi guys, thanks again for having me on the show. So basically I train in UL with the UL Sport Performance Centre. We train 10 sessions per week. We get up every morning at 4:30 to be on deck at 5 o'clock in the morning. We train in the pool for roughly 2 hours, and then 3 times a week we have a gym after training with a local physio who's excellent. And then we're back in the pool. We're back in the pool then from 2:30 in the evening until about 5 o'clock again. So we're doing double sessions, and we hit up 10 sessions a week. I guess then it's a big challenge then to balance that level of training. So up to 20 hours in the water, and we could have another 6 or 7 on land. So it's hard to balance that with college. My athletic background then, I guess it kind of all came from my family. My mum and dad are both sports people. Mum has multiple Irish Masters records, Masters titles. She's got world titles, world Masters titles. Just athletic, and the whole family is based around water, and that's just how I kind of got involved and got hooked straight away from a very, very young age. Excellent.
Can you tell us a little bit? I'm fascinated by the swim lifesaving that you compete in, and that you have. Am I right in saying you've got a European gold, a couple of silvers and a bronze from this year's championships? Is that right? Can you tell us a little bit about what that involves? Because I'm sure a lot of listeners wouldn't be familiar with the sport.
Okay, so I'm going to correct you first of all. It's called surf lifesaving.
Surf lifesaving, sorry.
And basically, there's 2 elements to lifesaving sport. There's the pool lifesaving part, and then there's the surf lifesaving part. So I have actually probably focused more on the surf lifesaving part of it over the pool lifesaving part. Basically, what the sport does is it aims to enhance and kind of improve the skills of a lifeguard through the racing or in a racing environment. So as you can imagine then, due to the nature of the sea, it's a very adaptable environment, and the conditions are always changing. So basically the usual layout of events is that all the competitors start on the beach and they race out around a course. So instead of usually marker buoys, or what we would call them, cans, and then you race back towards the beach. So then we race obviously then on a variety of crafts and using a variety of different methods of getting around the cans. And then there's, like say in swimming then as well, like relay events where we work as a team, or then work all the disciplines together.
Okay, fantastic. And can you... you're also obviously a very accomplished swimmer in the pool. You're current 400 metre short course freestyle champion, that's right, isn't it? Or front crawl champion. So can you tell us a small bit, obviously this is a sports psychology podcast, so can you tell us a small bit about how you incorporate sports psychology into your day-to-day training, and what your relationship like is to sports psychology, and just how it can help you?
I think this is a very new area for me, and this has changed a lot, as you know yourself, Owen, in the last, I don't know, maybe since September. So what's that, 2-3 months?
That's all. Yeah.
Until then, I would say I use very, very, very little sports psychology in my training, in my competing, and I would say that's probably quite a big regret for me, is not getting into it sooner. So it kind of started off before I met Owen at a national squad camp in Dublin, and I met quite a distinguished sports psychologist up there, and he just went through a lot of stuff that kind of clarified a lot of things in my mind, which I'm sure we'll get on to later on. About stuff like how swimming, how he had us chanting basically at one stage that I swim but I'm not a swimmer. So just my whole athletic identity and stuff like that. And then from that, then having Owen as a housemate and stuff like that. So going from this national squad camp to talking about this type of stuff with my friends and family and housemates, that I started to incorporate this whole sports psychology into my training, into my whole outlook. And I think like my big thing at the minute is basically just staying as positive as possible at all times.
So you do a lot of work in the pool. Do you ever get to go out in the open water often?
So basically for me, the season, I have basically 2 seasons. I would consider them to be my swimming season and my lifesaving and lifeguarding season. So basically my swimming season stretches from September right through until June, and then I train then in the sea from June until September. So there's 3 months. Obviously, as a result of that, my base fitness comes from the swimming side of things, and then that transfers into my life-saving fitness, where I just focus on my skills and maintaining fitness then through that period.
Do you ever do any sort of imagery to work on your life-saving skills in the off-season?
I think it's quite a bad thing that I'm going to say, and be very honest here and say I don't. It's definitely my own fault. I really haven't done anything to do with sports psychology or anything to do with that like that before. I've had the talks from national squad camps and stuff like that, but I guess almost oblivious to how important it is and how good it is. But having been aware to it now for the last while, it's something I will consider and something I will look into in a lot more detail.
It's an interesting point, isn't it, that these sort of big lecture halls, these kind of big talks that athletes like yourselves that you get in these kind of very formal situations. So it just goes to show that everything we know about sports psychology consultation, that one-to-one is always so much more effective than these kind of big group talks, that just manifests itself in that it's pretty easy for Bernard to be a part of these talks but to not take anything out of it, which is something I think we should be aware of as sports psychologists going forward.
Right. That's one of the reasons I like this podcast, and I like talking about sports psychology in a very layman's, non-specialist kind of way, because sports psychology is innately cool, and I feel sometimes if you get bogged down in the terminology, bogged down in all the things that you should be doing, less interesting, and you're less likely to be enthused by it. So the theme of this episode is athletic identity, and we have a definition here that we'll cite on the website and everything. So the degree to which an individual identifies with the athlete role. So could you talk to us a little bit about how you feel about either your athletic identity or that definition?
Of course. As I say, this is still very, very new to me. I think that I've developed hugely over the last 3 months in terms of understanding my own athletic identity. So my big thing at the minute in training is that, as I said already, it's that I swim, but I'm not a swimmer. And the fella that went through this with us also said that we could, if we wanted, include I swim and in brackets brilliantly, but I'm not a swimmer. So the whole idea is that you don't define yourself by being a swimmer, that you define yourself by being a lot of things, and that your swimming is one of these aspects. So he talked about an analogy of having a table, and that you are the top of the table, and that the table doesn't stand up unless it has legs, and he's decided that he would describe swimming as a big leg. And it's okay to have this big leg to be swimming, but you also have to have many small ones to support this big leg. And he described these small ones then as stuff like family, second sports, friends, college, relationships, all these different type of things that will help support that table. So that to me was the biggest thing that came out of that talk, and I think it's stuck with me ever since, that it's your life outside swimming that really, really helps. And he said another brilliant quote as well that said, invest in your swimming by investing outside of swimming. So all these other elements that add up to help your sport. And then one of the big things that I'm trying to do these days with my sport is that I have 2 separate worlds. That I have my swimming world, and I have my training world. I have my outside world. So it's kind of a harmonious, kind of a love affair, but they're conflicting but dependent on each other at the same time. So obviously, if I want to come home in the evenings, that I have to be conscious of that I have to be able to train the next day, but I also have to separate myself from my swimming world and my outside world. So I think living with non-swimmers this year has really, really helped me with that, because if I come home from training these days, it's I get a question from Owen as a sports psychologist. He's very interested in what I do. He'd go, how was that, Bernard? And it generally, what would you say, Owen? It generally amounts to, yeah, it was good, yeah. Something very, very simple.
Yeah, and then just good stuff.
And then if Owen was golfing or something like that day, I'd say, how is the swing looking, Owen? And he'd say something very similar, and that'd be as far as it would go. And I think that for me has been a huge benefit to me. That if I used to go home, I used to be stressed out about how the set went, to be questions, to be what time did you do in this and what time did you do in that, and I was just kind of starting to stress me out a small bit. So I kind of decided then that obsession really wasn't the solution, and that I had to find a way to detach the two worlds. That to me really kind of summarizes my the athletic identity. So I'm trying to swim and train without the weight of it, and I'm trying to basically trying to find a way to separate the two worlds, and that this will allow me to concentrate even more inside the pool. Yeah,
that's brilliant. That you managed to get that separation. I think that it's pretty tough. It would be pretty tough to try and focus solely on swimming. I think that very quickly, that's how we tend to, like, we know about athlete burnout and this stuff. Like, swimming tends to have quite a high, or seems to, certainly from looking from the outside, have quite a high ratio of athlete burnout. So it is nice that you're managing to find that kind of training life balance, which is nice.
Yeah, can I just say one more thing there as well? I felt that at the time I was almost getting kind of bogged down in swimming, and it was just really had kind of consumed me, and I was chasing this goal, and I think the only goal I have at the minute is to be the absolute best I can be, and I think that is an absolute fundamental goal, and I think it should be the root of everyone's. This is why we end up swimming in the first place, or why we take up our sports, is because we really want to be the best we can be, and we love it. So this guy that we were with, he talked about he said, oh boy, I hate swimming, or versus, oh boy, it's early, not many can do what I can do, I am strong. So it's the two different worlds where you have this person who is not happy, or you can take this positive approach where you're going, this is hard, but I can do it, and I'm stronger because I can do it. So I find that totally having that positive attitude can really, really help people when it comes to sport.
I think that for myself and Brett, certainly, that hearing an athlete have that kind of intrinsic motivation, that what motivates you, what drives you, is to make yourself get better, to try and be the best swimmer that you can be, is certainly, it's the kind of mindset that we would encourage, certainly as psychologists.
Right, and I don't think it's limited to just an athletic identity. As a student, I'm constantly trying to do everything I can to improve, and it's sometimes hard to come home at night and just put that on the side and just focus on other things that I enjoy instead of a constant effort to improve my standing as a student. So I can understand the ability to make different compartments for this is my athletic life, this is my social life,
this is my student life, and this is everything else.
So the one thing we have here, we have the Athletic Identity Measurement Scale, which is something that's been used to research athletic identity in the literature. And we just want to do a kind of not formal, like a semi-structured interview where we basically go through the different factors that the scale talks about and kind of just get your opinion on it, what you feel about it. So the first one here is, I consider myself an athlete.
Yeah, I think I do consider myself an athlete. I wouldn't say it defines me. I would say I'm an athletic person. I strive to be the absolute best I can be. I take a lot of the values that athletes would have, but I definitely try to contrast that with a lifestyle where I don't worry about things too much and just let things happen. I think I'm kind of caught beautifully between two worlds. I'm caught between this high-performance sport world where everything is measured by time and the focus is often on winning. And a lot of the time we end up comparing ourselves to others, and I think when we compare ourselves to others we often dilute our own strength sometimes. Where you actually get caught so much worrying about, say, what Brett's doing playing guitar and how I can't do that that I forget that I can actually play a song on guitar. So basically I'm caught between this high performance world and then say my lifesaving or lifeguarding or surfing friends where they're so relaxed and and totally happy all the time, and they then transfer this into their surfing, but they're still able to commit 110% to making a wave or making the best possible result from a wave. So like there's two different worlds that I'm caught between. So I would say that's why I'm in the balance here. So I do consider myself an athlete, but I am also able to find this time to unwind and
so it's not the be all and end all.
No, it's not. I'm totally. I know where I fit in that
right.
First.
And this measurement's usually assessed with a Likert scale, and that's kind of why I like qualitative research, because I would like your answer over a Likert scale. So the next aim is I have many goals related to sport.
I think I talked a little bit about this already. So I do have goals, but my fundamental goal is to be the best I can be, and I think that it's the peace of mind knowing that you gave your absolute best effort and that you couldn't have done anything more to be the best that you can be. So I think whilst I have obviously got goals, that this is my absolute root goal, and this is what governs all my other ones, like your times, so times is a big one in swimming, and then in life-saving sport, it's not timed, it's your position, which I think in position, if you think in terms of position, it's you're comparing yourself to others again, and once again you're diluting your own strengths. So that's my goals are. My fundamental goal at the minute, and it's kind of pulling me through so good at the minute, is to be the best I can be.
And have you got goals then outside of sport? So we've already talked about your goals related to sport, but have you got goals then that aren't related to sport then? That kind of balance those out, we'll say. In terms of your academia or... Yeah,
not something I thought about. I think I achieved quite highly in college or university. And then... So, yeah, probably to get the old 1-1 in university is a big thing for me. I think it's very important to balance your swimming and your academic. I think another big part of it for me is to find ways outside of swimming to let myself unwind. So that could be a goal as well. So to maintain healthy friendships, to make sure that I find the time to contrast my swimming lifestyle with other things as well, so that I'm not just bogged down in that. That's a goal, I suppose.
That's great. Yeah.
Speaking of that, the last in the social identity factor is most of my friends are athletes.
A lot of my friends are athletes. I consider the lads that I spend the summer with, and they're the guys I'm trying to get in contact with during the winter as well. I consider them athletes as well.
Are they high performance like you? Or?
Some of them are, yeah. Some of them are very, 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 very high performance athletes. They put themselves through enormous pressures, big wave surfing, really, really skillful athletes. But I think they're too contrasting. They both have different attitudes when it comes to sport. The swimmer attitude is very much based around absolute performance, training 10 times a week, putting in this huge effort,
and volume in training.
Volume and all this type of stuff. And the surfer attitude then is whilst it's based on performance and they take it very seriously and they do their training, it's a lot looser and it just happens a lot smoother.
Okay, cool.
Sport is the most important part of my life.
Sport is a very important part of my life. I don't think it's the most important part. I think it's up there equally balanced with a lot of things. I'd say family, college, swimming they're all together. Sport they're all up there together. I don't think I'm gonna singly say that sport is the most important part.
And I spend more time thinking about sport than anything else.
I wonder what Owen will think about this answer. I think I spend a lot of time thinking about sport. I don't think I spend more time thinking about sport than anything else. I'd say I land pretty much in the middle there again.
Cool. And that was the that was the exclusivity factor. And finally, the negative affectivity factor. I feel bad about myself when I do poorly in sport.
I, again, until talk a lot about this 3 months ago thing, I probably would have, until 3 months ago, felt poorly about myself when I do bad in sport. But I think this all comes back to you focus a lot on your end goal, and you forget about your processes, you forget about all these things, and you forget about all the good performances you have done if you haven't quite achieved that one goal that you set out to achieve. So I think it's do I feel bad about myself when I do poorly in sport? I did, but I don't anymore, because I feel like
you're more focused on the process.
More focused on the process, more focused on seeing all these fantastic things that I have done and not really, and then chasing myself to be the best I can be. So I feel like if I focus too much on when I've done poorly, I don't allow myself to be positive and to stay focused on being the best I can be.
Okay. Great. And the last question, obviously you don't have to disclose anything if you don't want to. I would be very depressed if I were injured and could not compete in swimming.
I think in swimming, I think that it would be. I don't. It's very, very difficult to get that injured. It is possible. I think that would I be depressed if I couldn't compete? Thankfully, now touch wood, I've never been that injured. Would I be depressed? No, I wouldn't be. I would find a way to remain positive, to still strive to achieve the best that I can possibly be, without feeling the need to pursue swimming. I'd find other ways to maintain that drive to be the best I can be. I think that's how I would react.
Yeah.
And that's purely based off, not off a previous experience, because I've never been that injured, but based off my current attitude of just trying to be the best I can be. Yeah. So no matter what your circumstances are, that still holds up, and that you want to be the best you can be.
I think that's a great attitude. So as a kind of set of questions, do you think these kind of target athletic identity pretty well?
Yeah, I couldn't, and this is coming from a very a different style of learning in college. I couldn't really see how it would work in terms of grading it. I like the idea of talking about it and what is it, qualitative research. I think it's very good to hear how someone could feel about these questions. I wouldn't really like to be given a number about how I wouldn't like to pick a number, or nor would I like to be given a number with my answer written on it.
Right.
I think it works very well the way we've done it here, and it's kind of relaxed environment, and just figuring it out that way. And for myself, understanding my own athletic identity, I think this has helped.
Oh, great.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
So I think we're closing in on about the end of the show. Owen, do you have any parting thoughts?
Just how it's striking to hear how kind of well-rounded an athlete that Bernard is in terms of, like, I keep saying it though, from myself and Brett's point of view as trainee sports psychologist, that hear an athlete with the kind of awareness that Brett has around his own mindset is very refreshing. That Bernard has around his own mindset is very refreshing, and I have no doubt that he's going to be a success for the rest of the year. Yeah, and I have to really thank him for coming along.
Yeah, thank you for coming. And on that note, I just want to give all of our social media kind of info. So this will be posted on our YouTube, but our blog is sportpsychsesh.blogspot.ie. And for our YouTube, please click, comment, like, and subscribe, because I really like saying that. What else? We have a Facebook and Twitter that I'm sure I've already invited you all to. And sportpsychsesh.blogspot.ie.
Has Bernard got any social media he wants to plug? Any Instagram or something?
Nope.
No.
Yeah, I think that just make sure you follow this. Because I think you guys are on a seriously good thing here, and I think that in terms of increasing the awareness of sports psychology and the effects it can have, and I'm a true advocate of sports psychology. The last 3 months, I think it's something I'm going to incorporate into my own racing a lot more, and this is an excellent way of promoting it, and fair play to you lads.
Just go to way to enter this any.
Yeah, so sportpsychsesh.blogspot.ie, and if you have any questions, comments, if you'd like to be a guest on the show, if you know somebody who might like to, or any questions, sportpsychsesh@gmail.com. sportpsychsesh@gmail.com, and for all Sesh, SESH. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Bye.